Hi, my fellow Americans. I'm Dr. Stephen Clark Bradley, and this is what I think. We finished our last video that we've been doing about the record and timeline and legacy of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and to ask ourselves why this person should never be the next president of the United States. And we want to continue on. We left off, we were getting into the China connection in Joe Biden's career, which is a huge, massive connection of corruption that he has. You know, in the Bible, it says that the borrower is the slave of the lender. Joe Biden is a slave, a vassal of the People's Republic of China, of Xi Jinping. And as president, we have seen when President Donald Trump came to office, he immediately pinpointed the breakdown of the relationship between China and America, and how they were using us and defeating us financially, and how we had deficits of $500 billion a year because past administrations, Republican and Democrat, were allowing China just to beat us up, to destroy us and take advantage of us, which was totally our fault. And China has never been our friend. They are not our competitor. They are our enemy, secretly and openly seeking to destroy the United States as the greatest nation in the world. They have a desire for world dominance, and we cannot let that happen. The presidency of Joe Biden would be a presidency of yielding dominance to the People's Republic of China and to the Hitlerian, really Hitlerian fascist regime of Xi Jinping, because he is a fascist. Later on, I'll be going into China and doing videos about that, about my 9 years in China, what I've learned about the country. But today, let's focus on this evil man, this senile man who says that he should be your president. Do you remember these words Joe Biden said about China? Quote, he said, they, the Chinese government, can't even figure out how to deal with the fact that they have this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the east, and I mean in the west. Then he said, they, the Chinese government, can't figure out how they're going to deal with the corruption that exists within the system. I mean, you know, they're not bad folks. But guess what? They're not competition for us. Is he stupid? Yeah. China is, now, if China played right, if they put their finances and their monetary system on the market as everybody else does, it's true. They could not compete with us. But they cheat because they're not honest. And they're going to win by hook or by crook, and mostly the latter. They don't want to win fair and square. They want to destroy us, and they don't care how they have to do it. They lock people up. That's why Huawei. I just changed my phone. I had a Huawei phone from China. I just bought a different one because I'm not going to keep it, because I refuse to have any links whatsoever to that evil regime. But believe me, Joe Biden still has plenty of them. And everything that Donald Trump has done to try to, decouple us from this evil nation, Joe Biden will put us right back together. Because he has to. He's in hock to them. You'll see here in a minute what I mean by that. This morning, Donald Trump announced that he's going to be pulling our pharmaceutical companies out of China and going to be establishing them once again in Puerto Rico. Now, why Puerto Rico? Because in 1996, during the Clinton administration, they passed a bill that pulled out all of the special parts of the relationship between America and Puerto Rico that made Puerto Rico basically our strongest area of pharmaceuticals. Okay? And that was all for the purpose of sending it to China. Joe Biden voted for that, of course. So that's why the Hispanics are voting for Trump. They know Joe Biden is a wheeler dealer, two-faced, a liar. And he'll do the only thing that benefits him personally. The president is the servant of the people, not of himself. Now you say that's ridiculous. How could he ever just serve himself? Well, let's look at this. Back in December of 2013, Joe Biden flew to Beijing for official meetings. Along with him, he took his son, Hunter Biden. Excuse me. While Joe Biden was meeting with Xi Jinping in some kind of who knows what meetings that I'm sure did not benefit the United States at all, Hunter Biden was dealing with banks and meeting together with financial officials. And as a result of that, 10 days after they returned to the United States, 10 days later, Hunter Biden was given a deal, a plan received a equities deal with the Chinese government through the Bank of China and paid for by the Chinese government itself, $1.5 billion equity deal for Hunter Biden, though he had never had any background in that at all. He had a small company that he called Rosemont Seneca Partners, which was just basically a 10-cup deal, just something set up that he could use as a front to be able to accumulate this money. Think about this. Hunter Biden, who was a crack addict, who had been kicked out of the Navy because he failed his drug test. It means he's a drug addict. Hunter Biden, who had had so many things, he had actually divorced his wife with their 3 daughters and married his dead brother's wife, with whom he had had a 1-year relationship and married her. Think about that. And then after he divorced, he refused even to pay child support, though he had $1.5 billion. This man, this very corrupt and evil young man, was given a deal by China that Morgan Stanley never got, Goldman Sachs never got, Deutsche Bank never got, and UBS Bank never got. $1.5 billion, which none of those big conglomerate banks had ever received. Why did that happen? Now let's just use our head. Let's think deep. Oh, I got the answer. His name is Biden. That's why. He allowed himself to enrich himself based upon the name of the Vice President of the United States. And of course, by virtue of Joe Biden's son Hunter doing this, Joe Biden was doing it for himself as well. So these people use their relationship with China to enrich themselves. Joe Biden said on this trip, and I quote, "I believed then, and I am even more convinced now, that a rising China is an incredibly positive development for not only China, but also the United States and the rest of the world." Do you see that mask you have over your face every time you go out? Did you hear about all those deaths that took place in America that Joe Biden wants to blame on Donald Trump? He should blame himself and Barack Obama and past administrations before them as well. They allowed this country, China, this evil country that takes their people and puts them in prison just because they're Muslim, that takes the prisoners out of their re-education camps, and if they have a buyer, will take the healthy ones and cut out their heart of a healthy prisoner who should not be a prisoner at all, who's a political prisoner, and sell their heart, their lungs, their liver. Our nation has been dealing with a country like that for decades. And they have been swindling us, cheating us, and using us to enrich themselves, to build up their military, to build up their power. And Joe Biden says it's a good thing for the world. Donald Trump has done the right thing. He has decoupled us, and it's happening now. Did you know that China makes 95% of all the drugs that we use today? And just 2 weeks ago, China said, if America continues its actions against us, we will not sell drugs to you anymore and your people will die. China said that. And Joe Biden says they're a competitor, not an enemy. What do you think? Do you think Hunter Biden is a patriot? Do you think so? Hunter Biden had no background in China. Hunter Biden had no background in finance. Hunter Biden had no background in private equities. Nothing. But he got a deal that, I repeat again, that Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, UBS could never acquire, simply because he was the son of the Vice President of the United States. Did you know that Hunter Biden had even been appointed once a manager of Amtrak? And you know why? Because he took Amtrak all the time with his father. Think about that. Maybe I was born in the wrong family. What do you think? Because I'll tell you what, everything I've been able to learn, to advance in, to grow in, to develop, I did on my own. Nobody helped me. I had help, but the right kind of help. Help from my teachers. But nobody pushed me. Nobody gave me something for nothing. Money for nothing. Think about it. Maybe you were jealous. I'm not jealous because I wouldn't do it. I had opportunities to cheat in college and I didn't do it. You know why? Because in the end, I got to tell myself, I did this on my own. I did this of my own intelligence, not somebody else's. But Hunter Biden is a cheater. And so is Joe Biden. That's pretty bad. Now let's look at this. In August 2015, Hunter Biden's investment firm sold his investment firm to Gemini Investments, a Chinese company based in the Chinese military. So while at that time, Barack Obama was trying to limit the Chinese military's influence in the world, but his Vice President Joe Biden's son was helping the Chinese military by selling his business and his holdings and property to a company that owned by the Chinese government involved in the Chinese military. Talk about a conflict of interest. It's just unbelievable. This is what Joe Biden was involved in. He didn't have any desire to help America. He didn't even want to help China. Who do you want to help? He helped himself. And he still is. And he still is. And he will again if he's president of the United States. One man named Patrick Ho was arrested in America for bribery. He was a partner with Hunter Biden. And he gave a call to Joe Biden's brother, James Biden. All right? But the reason he called James Biden, he wanted to find Hunter Biden. Because he knew the only way he could get out of his situation was if he worked with the man he had been bribing. Hunter Biden. Joe Biden is a very rich man today. He wasn't born rich. And he's never done anything but politics. How did he become rich? This is how. This is how he did it. How did Donald Trump become rich? Yes, he was born rich, but it wasn't his. And he became far richer than his father because he went out and built it better. You know, Joe Biden says build back better. He hasn't ever built anything. How can he build anything better when he's never built anything? He's only stolen from other people. In our future videos here, we're going to see other things he stole, like intellectual property from other people. This man should never be the president of the United States. He is in collusion with his son. Hunter Biden made over $1 billion from China very rapidly. And guess what? So did Joe Biden too. Because whatever they did, they colluded together and worked with our enemy, who is not a competitor. China hates the United States of America. We are the only nation standing in their way. And Donald Trump is the only person who can prevent them from accomplishing their evil goals and evil intents against America. In our next video, we'll continue this. We'll talk more about this evil man who should never be your president. One, he's senile, but two, he's evil in his heart, and he doesn't care about you. He only cares about himself. Make sure you come to our next videos. There's much more to learn. Believe me. Thank you.